Hello and welcome. I'm Paul and this is my channel, WellBeing of Paul. In this episode, we're going to be looking at, giving ourselves a hard time after doing something which didn't go as we hoped. And finding a way to free ourselves, hopefully, of whatever it is that burden us from those situations. I would like to call these ones hindsight assessments, where we assess ourselves thanks to the information we've gained through hindsight, the vantage point of such. Now, let's have a look at what identifies a hindsight assessment. How do we know we're giving ourselves a hindsight assessment? The easiest way to do it is through language. And the key words you know when you're definitely going through a hindsight assessment are these three words: should, would, and could. If you start saying, I should have done that, and I could have done that, and I would have done that, it's so obvious now, then I would say you're definitely giving yourself what I will call a hindsight assessment. But that last one I said where we go, it's so obvious now. Well, it's obvious because of the information you gained through that experience. It's obvious because of what you've learned through that experience. And in truth, if it was obvious before you did it, it's highly likely you would not have done it. So what I argue and what I put forward is you did the best you could with the information you had at the time. Think about it. When you go into situations where it goes as you did not intend, but at the time you did it with the best of intentions, you did it with the best of knowledge at that time, believing hopefully it would go as you hoped. Is that really what happened? You made the best decision you could with the information you had at the time. When we look back at ourselves in those situations, most often that is the case. Most often that is what happened. We made the best decision we could with the information we had at the time. And that's the point. Giving ourselves a hard time about what is now obvious, thanks to what we gained from that situation, from that moment, from that mistake, or whatever we want to call it, that outcome we didn't intend or hope for. Well, yeah, it's obvious now because we've gained that valuable information now. And the whole point of this episode is to remember this when we're giving ourselves those hard times that we so often do, because we look and say, I should have done this, and I could have done that, and I would have done it. I invite you to accept that you did the best you could at the time. You did the best you could with what you had at that time. And now you've learned from it and you can go forward from it as such. And I really do hope you start to give yourself less of a hard time. Because when we look at it truly, beating ourselves up, giving ourselves a hard time in this manner, I would argue that it does not give us any more strength or ability to go forward as we could if we didn't give ourselves such a hard time. So I invite you to go easy on yourself, recognizing the truth about the situation, that you did the best you could in that situation, and learn from it as such. So if a situation like that does ever occur in the future, you have that knowledge, that valuable experience to help ensure it goes as you do hope in the future. So until next time, everybody, bye for now.